Sir, is H or 2H on a pencil? Which one's
lighter is, so H stands for highlight, so the higher number of H is the lighter in colour, and B is bold, which means that the higher number of B is the darker colour. Is that alright? Hope I'm explaining that right. So that's page 161. Object 6, page 161. Okay, so we have it on the screen there, and what I'm going to start with is view A. So I'll step out 20 millimeters from the YY line. The overall width of this object is 80. And I'm going to split that 80 millimeters into the certain measurements. Now, if I'm not very good at adding up my numbers without moving my ruler, what I can do is I can work from the right in and from the left in. So 15 and 15 is 30, and then from the left 15 and 15 is another 30, which should leave me with 20 millimeters in the middle. So 5 and 7, there's 20 millimeters left in the middle, which is great. So that's all my widths. What I'll do with those then is I will come down vertically with a light construction line. Everything is construction lines at the minute. Nice and light, sharing across two views, using the correct technique, okay? So that's that, sharing across two views. And then my overall heights. So there's a 15 millimeter height. There is a 35 millimeter height. There is a 60 millimeter height from the ground up. And then if I measure from the top down by 35, 1, 2, 3, and 5, that's also a measurement needed. So there's all my heights. And I'm going to share these across my second view. So far I've just graded my front elevation position, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clarify that grid and turn it into the A view, the front elevation view. So now I'm going to use my heavy pencil, and I'm going to make sure that it looks like it's supposed to look if I was standing in the position A looking at the object. My pencil was a little bit dull, so I'll sharpen it up. Takes all of 3 seconds. And I'll draw in the heavy details of my object. Now I'm missing something from my front elevation view, but I'm missing that intentionally just to see if you can cop what it is. I'll come back to it afterwards, because I might just have the clear picture from just one view. I might need to share from my second view. So if I step forward 60, there's also measurements 20, 20 and 20. That will be the front of the object. This is the back of the object. That's the left of the object. This is also going to be a solid line. This is also going to be a solid line. And then there's a hole in the middle that I'm going to draw in heavy detail now. like so, and then there's my plan view completed. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 45-degree set square now, so I don't have to use any measurements here. I've already transferred the height measurements across to there. Ones that I need now are depths, which I've done here, and even if I've got them wrong, I'm going to use the correct technique and principles to transfer it up here, so I don't need to measure the depths. Okay, so I will transfer all of these horizontal marks with 45-degree line, several 45-degree lines. Again, I'm just going to create a grid. There's going to be lots of horizontal lines and lots of vertical lines, and I'm going to give you a little tip on this, on how to help you figure out which one's which. Okay? So with my grid up here in the end elevation view, it can be quite hard to figure out what the shape will look like. This is why it's advantageous to have the sketch of the object done first. Because what I can do now is on the board, I can take my any aspect of the I can take any aspect of this object and I can label a corner of it. Okay. So if I take any of these corners, say for example up here, and I just label it as number 1, and this corner here will be corner number 2. For argument's sake, this is corner 3, and this here is corner 4. Okay? You can label your object, transfer your labels over here to your 2 views, which will then be transferable to the 3rd view, and it just helps you position them. So for example, if I look at my image, this here is corner 1, which means that there is corner 1. So how do I find out where corner 1 is in my end view? It's where 1 meets 1. So that there is corner 1. And I know that this is corner 2. Where is corner 2? And it's up here. Same point. But where did the 2 of them meet? The 2 of them meet over here. And you can do that over and over again, that this can be 0.5 and this can be 0.6. And where are they? Well, there's 5 and 6 up there. Where did they meet? Up here. 0.5 and 0.6. And it just helps you clarify where your points are when you're transferring them up. So then that means that all I have to do is join 1 to 5. 5 comes down to 7. And so you're using the 3D sketch to your advantage. Labeling the 3D sketch will then get you the rest of the object. I hope that makes sense, does it? Because when you have a grid, it can be very hard to understand. So if you use the labeling on the 3D sketch, then transfer them to your 2Ds, it's much, much easier to understand. And then you can insert your hidden detail then much easier. So for the likes of the hole in the middle, I'm unsure of which one of these lines it is. If I label it as point 10 and point 10, 10 comes across, 10 goes to there, travels up to here, there is point 10. That helps me locate it and draw it in its proper form. Tracking and tracing it. And that is the solution to that. Okay?